The views, opinions, and wild ramblings expressed on this podcast are strictly those of our hosts and do not reflect the thoughts, values, or overly serious policies of their employers, sponsors, advertisers, or anyone with a legal team. All scenarios we discuss are based on past experiences, most of which we barely survived, and have nothing to do with any of our current jobs or employers. Basically, don't sue us. We're just here for the laughs, not the lawsuits.
Welcome to the Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR, the podcast where we blend workplace drama, HR nightmares, and a way too much oversharing into one wildly inappropriate package.
Your hosts, they're a real dream team. First, we have Mama Mel, the HR queen with a knack for keeping it real and breaking the rules when nobody's looking.
Heavy on the no one's looking.
Next, we have Dr. Green, the one with all the fancy-ass degrees and the questionable sense of humor.
E equals MC squared.
Such a nerd. I'm the Big Llama. I come for the big laughs, the bigger opinions, and absolutely zero filter, because I don't even know what that word means. And last but not least, we've got Jake from HR. He's not wearing any khakis, and it's questionable if he's even wearing pants, but he is here to ensure that we're breaking HR guidelines just for fun.
I'm always here to judge.
So buckle up, grab your handbook, maybe a cocktail, and join us as we figure out HR one awkward scenario at a time.
Well, welcome everyone to Just Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR podcast, where today we have an interesting story. Yes, I got to be grammatically correct. Don't hate me, all you grammatic police over there.
Well, he does have a PhD, folks.
This podcast is never going to go one day without saying something about my degree.
Put some respect on your name.
I mean, it has to be said that we are a reputable podcast because we have a PhD on staff. We have a doctor. I mean, when you have it, you got to flaunt it. Like, I mean,
look,
he can't prescribe medication, but he can prescribe a PIP.
There you go.
Ooh,
there you go.
I like that. That's right.
A lot of love for Dr. Green tonight.
Not a lot.
For those who don't know what a PIP is, Jason, Jake, whatever your name is, tell us what a PIP is.
It stands for a personal and performance plan.
I'm just going to go ahead and move on. So, talking about this specific story, today's topic is about you really wore that. And it's my favorite topic because we've all have a story about someone who has worn something just like you just can't fathom that they wore that to work. So those are some of my favorite HR stories, but I have one, and I call it the festival wear incident. That was perfect. Whatever it was, that was perfect. Just want to let you know. All right, y'all. It's time for story time with HR, and this one is a classic.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Is this the mesh shirt story? Please tell me this is the mesh shirt story.
I love this one. Set the scene.
All right, picture it. Monday morning, HR is just trying to get through emails like we normally do and survive. Coffee in hand, Slack's going ding, 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 ding. And then we get that dreaded message no HR person ever wants to get.
Yeah, it's the dreaded, hey, can you take a look at what someone's wearing?
Exactly. So we walk over to the copier, and there's Jordan, fresh off of a festival weekend. But instead of Jordan, we've got to go to our call sign, Becky. We go to the copier, and there's Becky. Fresh off a festival weekend, still riding the Coachella high. They're rocking a mesh shirt, neon body glitter, and a fanny pack as pants.
Gasp, mock and horror. A fanny pack as pants? That's a bold choice.
Were they even phased when you showed up?
I can't finish.
Let's just.
You brought this on yourself.
You did. You did this to yourself.
Not even a little. The phase was not there. Becky just looks up and goes, "Oh, hey. Yeah, I figured we're casual here, right?"
I mean, casual for whom? Burning Man?
Please tell me you had a spare hoodie or something.
We did. We raided the lost and found and got her covered. But then we had to sit her down gently, and I emphasize the word gently, and explain that while we love your amazing creativity of body glitter and mesh t-shirts and a fanny pack, the dress code does in fact require actual pants in this office.
Moral of the story, if you don't define casual, someone's going to test the limits.
And apparently the limit is mesh shorts and some body glitter.
Ha ha ha.
Oh, look, my mom's over here crying.
I want everybody to know. I want to give people context so they can understand why we're cracking up, why I'm crying.
Yes.
This was scripted for us.
Hey.
So detailed with emotion and verbs, and we apparently read those too. So
I mean, gasp and mock horror.
Fucking horror.
I can't.
Sorry, Jake. I don't want to pick on you, man, but that was classic. That was. Classic.
I do.
amazing.
Wait, hold on. I need to point out. I read it on purpose. I know it was not meant to be read.
I know. We know
Okay.
you did, buddy.
We know you did, and it was just so well timed and well ill-mannered. It was just perfect.
Oh,
Like
Mm.
as if you were the old guy in the room going, gasp, horror, turn left to stage and look. Like that like, it was perfect. Thank you. I appreciate
He's
that.
he played the role of that coworker. Remember we talked about this last week. That coworker that just reads verbatim anything that they're doing. They
Yes.
don't look at the slides prior to the training. They just
Yes.
read everything.
The last second man. Instead of the
There's
Bernie
a-
man, the last second man.
They are still reliable.
Yes, they are. And so my HR crew, have you ever had to address a questionable outfit at work? Drop us a message, shoot us an email. I'm sure there's gonna be an email somewhere out there that Big Llama has out there for us. But we want to hear your wildest dress code stories. But until then, we're gonna turn to someone else here in this podcast that has a crazy, wild, maybe not so much of a fanny pack, but a good story.
I actually have a story that ties into this one.
Ooh.
So fair warning, right? I don't want to trigger anybody because it is a sensitive subject, right? But I have been thinking a lot about in the last couple of weeks over like investigations that have shaped my professional career, right? And this is probably one of the top 3. I had an employee, a female employee, that came into our location and they were actually wearing a mesh top with nothing under. So they were completely exposed, right? I mean, I think anybody would immediately think that that's inappropriate to wear to work. I would also like to add context that it was field day. So we were going to be spending time away at a park, doing field day related things. So people were like encouraged to come comfortable to work and, wear comfortable clothing. You're going to be running around. When I asked her to change, right, her rebuttal was, if it was a man, this conversation wouldn't be happening. I was too stunned to speak, but I knew she was right.
Was she though?
I mean,
I have
To
to
me,
second that. Was she though?
I mean, I look at dress codes like going to the store and buying a shirt or an outfit. While anybody can buy it, not everybody was meant to wear it.
Mm.
mm-hmm.
Mhm. Okay. So what you're saying is that Big Llama should not come out in 3 sizes too small booty shorts.
That is his choice, and I will love that for him.
And that would be a gift for the office. I would just say that. Okay. A gift. You ever seen a surfboard? That's what you would see back there. Anyway.
Do you remember that
Flapjack.
episode of Family Guy? And he comes out, him and Homer Simpson. It was that combo episode where they're washing cars in booty jean shorts that are too small.
No.
That's it right there, baby. That's it.
Go ahead, Jake.
No, you got it. Go on, Big Llama.
No. I was gonna kind of switch gears and just one thing, because we're talking about how people dress, and I happened to look up a TikTok trend, which was the office siren. I don't know if you guys have heard of
Yes.
So Google, if you haven't, just Google, just do a quick Google search on images for the office siren. So apparently the trend is that they wear very provocative, tight, clothing that is business formal. It's the pantsuits, it's the things that we would say are appropriate, but they wear it in such a way that it is very risque, very sexy, very, and again,
very demure.
Very
non-demure.
Not demure.
But the reason I thought of that too is not because you said that I would wear something 2 sizes too small, but that also is an issue.
I said
fit.
3.
Okay, so but honestly, the office siren thing, there are people getting fired for, and then they're posting it on TikTok. So this has become a let's challenge HR thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. So the one thing is, like, I may not find it offensive, but we clearly know that like that shirt is way too like low cut, or we know that you're wearing something that's way too tight. But how do you address it as an HR professional, right? Or again, I know I'm the guy who says it as a male, but like that's it's a real thing. As a male HR professional, I have a hard time addressing it with a lady, right? Wearing something provocative. What am I going to say? That shirt is really tight on you. Like, I am now borderline sexual harassment. So,
well, with that being said,
disagree.
then, Mama, look, I want to point out something really quick before we get into Mama Mel's disagreement on this. I do want to point out, unless you live in the one state in the United States that does not have an at-will policy like Montana, even if it's not in the policy, they can fire you for it.
of course.
Okay, so if they fire you, don't be like, you can't do that. Yes, they can. They might have to pay your unemployment, but they can fire you for it.
At will, baby.
Unless you're in Montana. Montana doesn't have it will.
Oh, sorry about you people in Montana. You're so lucky.
Mama Mel, go on with your disagreement. Bring it.
Okay, listen, I disagree with that statement. I think that males can certainly address female employees about their dress code if they follow one cardinal rule. do any of you want to take a stab at what that? And this is just my personal cardinal rule. This is not written anywhere. This is just me.
Have a witness.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
Bring somebody in of the opposite sex on the call, because you know that. Here's the hard part, though. If you're an HR of one, that's going to be a little hard. So bring someone as close as you can to HR, and bring that female into the office to be there as a witness. I agree with that. Or leave, and sometimes you may not even have that. You may be in an all man's work environment. So the best thing at that point is to leave the door open. Some people disagree, and that's fine, because I know Jake from HR is always going to disagree with me because he loves me that much.
I want to say I would love to get a female report me for sexual harassment, letting them know that they look like a hoochie. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say hoochie to them, but I'd
Looks
love
like a
it.
Can you
Becky.
imagine having that conversation? You look like a hoochie.
I have had that conversation with people, just not at work.
Was it Becky?
It was Becky.
Damn it, Becky.
So what's the cardinal rule for you, Mama
The
Mel?
cardinal rule for me is you maintain eye contact 100% of the time.
Yes, because
Stare into the soul.
Do not look down at them. We're right here. You and me the entire time. Certainly it helps to have a witness, especially if you're not comfortable having those conversations. But I am a firm believer that male leaders, supervisors, directors, executives can have those type of conversations with female subordinates, but do not break that cardinal rule. We're here. I'm not looking at anything else but your face.
I love the eye contact, but what I would add to that is keep the conversation very high level.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked in many environments where we've had nothing but males and they don't feel comfortable addressing females. But the ones that did, we had a female where obviously her breast was exposed, but instead of sitting her down saying, hey, unfortunately that shirt is see-through and people can see through your shirt, or hey, your chest is exposed. They literally went in conversations where they're talking about her breast, her nipples, her areolas. You name the word, they used it during that conversation.
Oh, Jesus.
And when it got to my office, I'm like, I literally just set the manager down. I'm like, so explain to me why you felt the need to use all these terms. Well, I just wanted to make sure she understood. I'm like, I'm pretty sure she knows what the word breast means or chest. Why did we need to use the word areola? Like, first of all, proud of you for knowing that term. A lot of people don't know that term. Why did you feel the need to use it in this conversation? You couldn't have just said, hey, we can see through your shirt. You didn't think she would, oh, you can see my back? Like, no, she would have known what you meant. Like,
You got areolas on her back?
Yeah, like keep it very high level. Keep the eye contact, but keep it very high level. We can see through your shirt. We can see through your pants. Obviously you're going to have that one person that's just sarcastic. They're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, we can see your skin through your shirt, meaning that your private areas are exposed. And that's unacceptable. Like, keep it high level. Don't go in detail. I had another situation, same company, but it was down south. And they got very, very descriptive on what they could see. And I'm like, just say the pants are not appropriate for work. They expose too much. Bam.
Another thing too, another trick is read the policy. Read the policy, and you'll get to the part where it says properly fitting, proper fit or
appropriate clothing.
Appropriate clothing. Sometimes it's like if you read it before you meet with them, you'll find your loophole. If it's that they're wearing tight clothes, there's probably a line that says clothes that have proper fit, that are I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. But I like, Mel, your thing about the eye contact, although my peripheral game is amazing. Just so you know. I'm
I'm looking, but I'm not.
Exactly. My eyes are up here. Yeah, I know. No, but I think that's a pretty good point. And yeah, you don't have to be as descriptive. I agree with Jake also. Like, don't get into the details. Just make it, again, the witness is good too. You always want to have a witness. And the other thing too is, before you address that person, get someone else's perspective.
Mhm.
Like, okay, so like sometimes you have to recognize your sensibilities. Are you conservative in the way that you sort of see things, right? um and again, that could like lead to you thinking it's not appropriate, and somebody else may go, dude, you're like way off, like this, it's not that big of a deal. So just have somebody else bounce that off of somebody else before you address it, not just because the manager came to you and said, I think she's inappropriately addressed, right? He or she. So that's another good thing to do, is just make sure that if you can get someone else's opinion, that's always helpful.
Mm-hmm. You know what term I like to use for people, because I know we all get asked the same question about, well, what do you consider appropriate? Because we love to leave handbooks so vague sometimes, where even it's not descriptive on what is and is not acceptable. So my response to leadership a lot of times is when they're like, well, what's not acceptable? I'm like, if you have 0% where you don't have to try to use imagination, it's not appropriate work. Leave room. I tell employees to leave room for the imagination. I don't want you to come to work where people do not have to guess. They already know the package. That means it's not appropriate for work.
Back in the day, I used to say, if you can wear it to the club, don't wear it to work. But I don't know if you guys have been to a club or a bar lately. People dress weird.
Yeah.
I just wear a t-shirt and some jeans and some boots, and that's about all I got there.
But
you sounded real Texan right there.
Oh, I'm country bumpkins.
But no, seriously. With the way trends and all that stuff go, especially for what you were talking about, Big Llama, it's best to veer on the safe side. I do agree with pretty much all of what y'all said. High level enough to where it's, hey, that's just not appropriate. And if you can't, my mother, can't say my mother would say this. I've had a lot of leaders in a religious capacity say, if you can't present yourself like this in front of the Lord, then it's not appropriate.
Ooh,
and I would,
some of them churches I've been to don't say that.
So that's where I was gonna kind of say that gets a little on too. But let's say this: if you were going for a promotion for a vice president position, would you wear that with the same gender?
Well, I mean, that's not a bad way of like phrasing it. But I here's how I phrase it, just as a contrast, right? Because I've done 1,000,001 orientations, and what I always tell them is, like, if you look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, is this appropriate? The answer is always no.
No.
If you have to ask yourself and you question what you're wearing, then the answer is no. You know that to be the case. You're just testing the waters at that point. So go ahead and go change. It's just a good way. Like you oh man, maybe you think this will fly today? Yeah, it's probably not. Go change. Again, if in your brain you're questioning it, it's definitely not appropriate.
With positive intent.
It's also dependent on like your company's dress code and if they have one, right? So like if we're talking about like McDonald's, Burger King, just an example, like they have their uniforms, they have like the shoes that they have to wear, right, for like safety reasons. But if we think about what's the primary purpose of having a company dress code, like what's the one thing that we correlate a dress code to? I correlate it to professionalism. So when I walk into a building, right, I should be able to distinguish who are the leaders based off of how they look.
Hmm.
So I guess to Dr. Green's point, would you wear that if you were interviewing with the president of the company or the CEO, COO? I would say that to like a higher level leader, but
Mhm.
not to like, your starting positions. I wouldn't maybe position it that way because the dress code may be different there, but also the expectation is different there. Like if I roll out of bed and remember when we all worked from home at some point, right, during COVID, if you rolled out of bed, are you going to act and look and sound professional? Oh, I don't know. I don't know that. I guess you could put up the professional facade, but when I take my time in the morning and I get ready and I put myself together, I feel put together and I feel a lot better. And in my experience, I approach things with a lot more professionalism. That could just be me, right? But to Lana's point, when you talk about it during like orientation, that's what I use to encourage people to dress up because people don't want to dress up anymore. They don't want to. They want to wear joggers, slides, Crocs. I love Crocs,
Yeah.
but like not for work, right? People don't want to dress up. So to kind of encourage and motivate them to dress up, I say, when you dress up, when you look professional, you act professional, and you're going to notice a change in your performance. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Or why do we think that companies impose a dress code?
No, just for safety reasons. There's a lot of it is a
Well,
lot
safety,
due to
yeah.
safety. And like I know because I've been in manufacturing, and of course wearing sliders and wearing Crocs and stuff like that is just a extreme workers' comp nightmare waiting to happen. But outside of that, even like the healthcare organization, you don't need to wear Crocs because there's blood, fluids, etc. Those things that can get on you, and you don't want to get that on your skin. And being let's go further, a janitor has to deal with chemicals. You don't want to be wearing slides as a janitor because now these chemicals can get on your feet, and etc.
Right.
You see where all this is going. So that's where I see a lot of safety things, but that's a lot for more like shoes. I don't see a problem with it on the manufacturing floor when somebody's wearing joggers, as long as it's not like really, really, really baggy joggers that it can get caught into a machine, that kind of thing. But who knows what I'm wearing while I'm working from home?
I have an answer to Mama Mel's question that I think we'd all agree on. And the question you asked is, why do companies impose dress codes? It's for minimal expectations.
Mm.
So when someone
Yeah, I get
challenges
that.
it's for when someone challenges the dress code, it's like, look, we're just asking you to do the bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean, most of them say clean jeans or clean clothes and no rips.
Yeah, minimal expectations.
Right.
Whether it's to keep people from going crazy or to keep them safe. Minimal expectations.
Mm. So does anybody have a crazy story that they've like dealt with, or like just a situation? I gotta know, because I know out of all three of y'all, there's somebody else who has a crazy story, and I'm kind of looking at him because his mouth is wide open. So go for it there, Jake from HR.
I have a controversial one.
Ooh.
So in a previous company that I worked for, I had probably about 30 complaints on a shirt that somebody was wearing. The shirt itself, the materials, the type of shirt was completely acceptable, but it had a QR code on it.
Oh, I love those.
So here's where it gets controversial. When you scan the QR code, it went into this website that was extremely aggressive and anti-homosexual.
Oh, no.
Now, of course, we had to do an investigation. The shirt itself said nothing about being against anyone who is gay or part of the LGBTQ community. But when you scanned it, it did. So therefore, they weren't exposing any verbiage or knowledge. And the only way you would see it is if you intentionally scan the barcode, which then you enlisted that information from the QR code. So technically, there was no law or policy that we could enforce to force him to go home or force him not to wear that shirt. All we could do was have a conversation about how uncomfortable they were making other people and encourage them not
Big
to wear
llama.
that shirt. I know. So let's pass over to Big Llama and see what your thoughts are about this.
First and foremost, okay. For me as an HR professional, I follow rules and I like to be able to quote a rule. But when something like this is blatant, like okay, we scan the QR code. I get it. In theory, the shirt is not appropriate. Yeah, I mean, it is appropriate. Got it. The minute I scan that QR code and I know what it means, I'm telling your ass to take the damn shirt off or go home. Like, and it may not be in the rules, right? But you're clearly promoting something that is against our code, values, ethics, so on and so forth. So yes, congratulations to you, asshole, for finding the loophole and exploiting it. But you are going to get treated with nothing but a stern. I'm not even talking to you about it. Like, do you know what this means? Do you know where it goes? I'm going to say, you know exactly why you're wearing that, and so I'm going to ask you to take that off, and I'm going to ask you to get another shirt, or I'm asking you to leave.
Yeah, I do want to point out that this scenario, which is true, it was also ran through legal and employee relations to the highest level.
Your state's jacked up. That's why.
No,
they would not allow any tangible actions other than a strongly worded conversation to encourage.
Oh no! Again, I don't know that I could discipline, and if I could, I would. But and this is just me. Sometimes in HR, people who are listening, this is a judgment call. But I will sleep really well at night going home to say, I stopped somebody from promoting hateful messages. I don't give a shit what the policy said, what the prior Supreme Court thing. And you know what? I'll fight that. I'll fight, or I'll at least support it. My intention wasn't to violate a rule, law, or whatever. My intention was to remove somebody who was promoting hateful messaging or inappropriate messaging. I mean, what if that went to a porn site? What if that went to a site that's trying to recruit people for nefarious things, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It's not appropriate. Get it off. And again, once you know what that is, you have a duty to take an action. At least that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think what scared a lot of the individuals from other teams to kind of take action, especially from legal's perspective, is they were claiming that they weren't publicizing the information, only the QR code, and that the information through the QR code was a part of their religious belief.
Well,
so we're taking it a step further, but
right.
Let me give you a different view too. I'm actually very supportive of Big Llama in his choices, mainly because we're pretty much the same. But what if it was bring your kids to work day?
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, Daddy, look at this. And then now you have not just educated, and in a bad way, a child who was innocent at the fact of not knowing, say they're 7 or 8 years old. Because, right nowadays you have a 7 or 8 year old who has an iPad or some type of tablet, and then take a picture of it. We think about the overall aspect of it, not just, yes, it's a QR code, but I'm a very proponent supporter for what Big Llama said was you intentionally took that and put it out there so that people would scan it. You were trying to be hidden and you were trying to be sneaky. And unfortunately, that does connect to rude, crude, and socially unacceptable behavior.
Mhm.
And so,
Well,
yeah.
What I will say on a positive note is when I did have that courageous conversation with them in my office with pictures of my husband and kids all around my desk, specifically posed for that conversation.
So you took the shirt off?
He actually never wore that shirt back because I didn't do anything inappropriate, but I think sitting in an office with an HR person that happens to also be gay, married with kids, and then you're having to be addressed by that HR person, and then you have pictures of his entire family just facing you during this conversation. Yeah, he didn't wear that shirt to work again after that. So it was a win. We still won, even though we couldn't address it the way I wanted to, but we still won.
That's good. At least you did it in a very polite and socially acceptable way of basically subtly telling them, like, look, you don't know everybody who's in this office. You don't know what their preference is. So you basically, and I pardon for the lack of bad words, but you basically bitch slapped them in a nice way.
I like to say I was a little
I want to play
psychological.
devil's advocate.
Oh,
Okay,
the devil's
here we go.
advocate. Here it is.
That's okay.
Come
That's
on.
okay. This is why we're
Come
having
on.
these conversations. This is good.
If that QR code, and I'm going to use Dr. Green's example because I think that's a great example,
Thank
and
you.
it can be spun both ways.
Ooh, now I don't like it.
If that QR code, well, because I don't have the full context to the story, right? So there's questions that I still have, but I think I can see why that decision was taken, or I can understand it. If that QR code went to a pro LGBTQ plus, and it was bring your kid to work day, and a child, same scenario, right? Scan the QR code. Look, mom, look, dad. There's two girls kissing on the screen, and this is a very conservative parent.
Yeah.
I mean, it could go both ways.
And you hit the nail on the head of some of the responses we got back from legal, because even though it was homophobic messaging, it was all religiously aligned. It wasn't talking about killing anybody or putting people to death per se. It was just talking about and I don't want to go into depth, but the context was just basically religious terms, which is exactly why I supported the decision and followed. I didn't agree with it, but I still supported it and followed through with it for that reason, because I am conscious enough that I can see it from both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I go a step further and say, I don't care what the messaging is. If it's to your church, it has no place in my workplace. Yep. And I'm going to be, if the rules are right, that we are not to sway anyone from political stuff, religious, all those things that we try to stay away from. No, I don't want you advertising your church in my business. I don't want you, whether it's a hateful message or a good message or framed in whatever way you want to say it. I just don't want that, because it creates controversy. Obviously, the reaction I gave you was a pretty heated one, because you said it had hateful things. I don't like that either, right? I don't want anyone to feel marginalized or hated or anything. So it really upsets me. But at the same time, on Mama Mel's point, the devil's advocate, I'm with you. I don't give a shit what your church is saying. I don't want to see it there, because I may not subscribe to what your church is offering. I may not believe in those things. And so I would rather it to be not in the workplace at all, so that I don't have to go to work and feel like I'm being persecuted or I'm being, pressured, or, again, because there's already enough of that shit in the world. I want the workplace to be a little bit more neutral, so that I can go into work. And do my
does
thing
that go both ways? And I guess just from like a legal perspective, right?
Oh, I don't know about that.
It should go both ways.
It should.
Well,
no,
I don't know either, right? But this is just my opinion and speaking out loud. It should go both ways. So let's look at it from a legal perspective, right? It's our decision to scan the QR code. You don't have to,
Mhm.
You can if you want to. Now, obviously, right, this is kind of like another scenario, very political, but it's almost like wearing like a Team Harris, Team Trump t-shirt to work. It's meant to incite division. It's meant
Correct.
to incite, you're looking for trouble.
Right. No place in the workplace.
Yeah.
So although I may not agree with kind of like Jason said, I didn't agree with the decision, but I supported it because from a legal perspective, nothing is being shoved down our throats. Nothing is being, openly, there's no open propaganda here. You have to make the decision to scan the QR code and go. Obviously, right, after one person scans it or two people, that's going to spread like wildfire, and then it becomes an issue.
Mhm.
Right. Well, but again, you're putting out something, which is a message for someone to take an action, and it's just veiled under the you had to go look for it. No, you brought it to the place. You brought it to my face. It's a curiosity I'm going to have. So if there's a QR code in the building, and we're trying to promote like a survey, or we're trying to promote like an event, right, for the building, QR codes are meant for that. They're meant to just generate an interest. And again, I get it. Like, we would forcibly be looking at it, but I would say my understanding of all this, or the way I look at it, is it's all equal. I don't want good positive messaging from the church, and I don't want negative positive messaging from the church. I don't want any of that shit. I would rather it be, and the political side too. I don't care what team you subscribe to, right? Don't bring that to the office, because you are looking for a reaction, or you're bringing that kind of divisive discussion that could lead to potential issues, even if it's civil discussions, that start to sort of make the office workplace a little toxic.
Yep.
But
And I want to call out Big Llama's comment about subscription. While we do not subscribe to that, we do want our listeners to subscribe to our channel.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So while he is
Good point.
up over there, I like the way you said it, Mama Mel, which was it incites division. And I just want to remind everybody that hate has no home here.
Listen, I don't care what you do after you leave work.
Your business.
Care. Exactly. That's your business. Now, when it starts to impact the workplace, we have a different conversation. But what you do when you leave those doors is none of my business. And quite frankly, if you see me out there, I don't want to talk to you. I'm done. I've said this before. I'm done with work. But what I mean to say is, we all have our personal lives, our personal choices, whatever we live by, whatever we want to die by. That's fine by me, right? If you're a religious person, you know that I'm not going to atone for your things. I'm going to atone for mine. So I'm going to say what I always say. Don't be a shitty human being. Just be a decent person with a kind heart. And I don't care what you're doing in your life. I'm staying in my lane. And more people should act like that, in my opinion.
Right.
Be
I
the
agree.
I in kind. Be the I in kind.
Not the I. The letter I.
The letter I.
Can I be the K in kind?
Sure.
You can be the D.
No, you can't.
No, but Mel, I agree. Like, it's like, and this is okay, so outside of the HR world or the podcast, mind your own fucking business.
Yes.
Like, just stick to yourself. Like I don't understand. Like, again, I get it. Like, the churches preach, get disciples, and
that's
spread
why it's
the word.
at church.
Right. I get that. But at the same time, I don't care. Leave me alone. I am just a poor llama going about his business. Leave me alone. Because I do not look friendly outside of work. I do not talk to people, and that's on purpose. I don't want to hear about your nonsense and all this stuff. And quite frankly, as much as people say that piss me off, I try my best to stay out of their business, because it only leads to issues,
Well, but I think that our generations, right? And I say generations because there's a lot of generations up in this group.
What's wrong with you?
I think our generations understand common courtesy, respect, right? Like, we can have a conversation and disagree, and that's okay. And we can walk away from that conversation still being like, dude, you're cool. We may not, right? Like, I'm telling you that wall is white and you say it's beige. Agree to disagree, and we can walk away just fine. But I think the younger generations don't know how to disagree. And they have to drive they have to drive that point like down in your soul, and you better agree with them. If not, they're like, we just, like, to Lana's point, we don't know how to mind our damn business. Like, we
and
can
that's the problem.
disagree. It's cool. You want to see yellow, I want to see pastel yellow. It's cool, dude. We can walk away and still be homies.
This is so much truth, and I'll tell you such a simple example of this. Me and my wife, we play banana whack. And if you don't know what banana whack is...
Oh, that sounds like... I'm uncomfortable.
No. No.
Why did the podcast get spicy all of a sudden?
Spicy coin.
I want to Google it, but I'm scared to Google that.
I know. My Google search history will not have banana whack on it.
Sorry,
banana whack. Banana whack is like punch buggy, slug bug, stuff like that. Except for it's any yellow car. Yeah, like when you see a beetle, you punch him. Well, this is, you see any yellow car, you say banana whack, and you smack the person. Well, me and my wife have been playing this game for like good part of 10 years of playing this game. And we will come across where we disagree on what the color is. And it's so simple, but it gets so heated. And we're like, no, that's green. No, that's chartreuse. That is green. It's like it goes back and forth between like, is this yellow? Is this green? And so then we have to get an outside opinion on
they phone a friend.
And we'll take pictures, send it to family. Like, it's a debate. But we love each other. And it's just so much fun on just being ridiculous. But it's a game that's been played for 10 years. And so, but it's that simple. We walk away from it 5 minutes later, not even giving a crap or even knowing where it was. That's true. Like, you got to be like that. You got to be able to walk away from it and not just not care, because it's not that important.
I have a few issues with this.
Okay, go for it. You always have issues.
Why can't we just call it yellow whack?
Right.
Okay.
Because hey.
And keep in mind, I grew up in the produce community a little bit, so bananas are not just yellow.
You know what? It's
bananas are yellow.
No, they start off green,
Mama
then they turn
Those
yellow.
are plantains.
No.
Oh.
Normal
now we're arguing bananas
that are yellow start off as green.
Perfect. Case in point.
No, I'm saying
arguing bananas and maduros.
When you buy the bananas from Walmart, Walmart does not purchase them yellow. They purchase them lime green, and then they gas them to help them age through shipping. And then when you receive them, have you ever noticed when you went to the store, they have the packages opened up? It's to release that gas so that they don't age them faster inside the box. So when you buy bananas at Walmart and you put them in that little baggie and you twist it, you're actually causing your bananas to ripen faster because they still have gas in them. But no, bananas start off as green and turn yellow and then turn black.
You are correct. But for the standard sake of a 5-year-old.
So I can punch you for all three colors. I got you. We good.
Yeah.
I'll see you
in Florida.
Yeah, don't get in the car with him.
I'll see you in Florida.
You're going to end up bruised.
But for the sake, it's for a 5-year-old's mind. Let's say that everybody thinks, especially all 5-year-olds, you ask them what color is a banana. They're not going to go, well, it's green at the beginning and then it's black at the end. They're going to go, no, it's yellow. So, case in point, as we just witnessed throughout all of this wonderful turmoil, it proved my point.
People will literally argue over anything. That's the point. That's the moral of this story.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, we live in a perverted society. Okay, so when you say banana punch or
banana whack,
whack, there you
the
go.
faces we all made, like I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do this.
Like,
but the funny thing about it is, y'all knew it wasn't dirty. Y'all knew better.
I was scared to where it was going.
Y'all were just taking it there.
I was scared it was called banana whack because she would whack you in the banana if she saw something yellow. And I was like, wait, he's not telling that. Why is he calling his wife out on this? Like, this is not great. Dr. Green.
She's going to kill me.
Blink twice if you need help, my boy. As he blinks rapidly.
Right. For the podcast audience, he's blinking very rapidly.
But seriously though, in the end, your handbook's not gonna have every bit of detail in it when it comes to what they should and shouldn't wear. And which I've actually tried that at an organization where I'm like, okay, no open-toed shoes, no rips in the jeans, like don't wear joggers, don't wear what is it, yoga pants.
Yeah. Ooh, and then it's like a 17-page PowerPoint of all the yeses and the nos.
And then there's always some new trend that comes out, and that has to be added to the stupid list.
But that is why it's so important to put that disclaimer at the end of the dress code, which is that the company is subject to change this policy as needed at will, however you want to word it. But it's basically saying we can change this dress code anytime we want to. It does not have to be listed in here to be wrong, and it does not have to be listed in here to be right. We can come to you and tell you we don't want it, and it's still within the policy.
So can I ask a question then?
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about pajama pants and hoodies?
Ooh,
that outfit. That outfit is now.
Wait. Pajama pants.
Pajama pants with a hoodie.
Okay.
That is now the outfit of choice of most younger employees. They will wear pajama pants and a hoodie to work.
The fact that we normalize this is what's wrong with society today. Like, don't get me wrong. I will wear pajama pants and hoodie to Walmart. I'll wear them to the store. I'll wear them to the movies. But I'm not saying it's always socially acceptable. What I'm saying is I can fathom that. But going to a job where you're clocking in, whether you are seen or not seen by customers, and wearing that, and you think it's okay, explains not everything, but explains the concept of what's wrong with the world today, because we're normalizing things that the few have won the battle and we've given up on the war.
Could this be childhood trauma?
No, ain't no way. No, this cannot be. Let me just point out that the sounds that came out of your mouth a couple of seconds ago almost set me into a spiral. Jake's over here, and Dr. P's like, ah. What is that? What's that? First of all, that kind of baby spiral, but
what it meant was
he's like,
he is giving the definition of what is wrong with society right now. He's the reason. He's saying that I go into Walmart wearing probably, tell me if I'm wrong, fluffy shoes. What do you call those things? Slippers, pajama pants, Crocs, and a hoodie. Crocs or whatever. And I have seen that so many times. And look, I get it. You're on a road trip and you got to stop into the gas station and get snack. Fantastic. Cool. Be you, boo, as what Mama Mel would say. Do you, boo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But this is intentionally going inside of Walmart in the town that you probably live in, and your second grade teacher's there, your pastor's probably there, whatever it is. And they're looking at you going, this is what's wrong with society. So why not carry that over to work?
Dr. Green, I need you to Google people of Walmart.
No.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of this.
And when you see those pictures, you're gonna think some sleeping pants and a hoodie
It's very appropriate.
is business casual.
People of Walmart.com.
Yeah.
Go people of Walmart and click on pictures. Okay. Which is why I don't have a problem wearing sweatpants. Now, I don't wear like the characters and all that. I just have gray sweatpants. I'll wear gray sweatpants and a hoodie to Walmart. I don't mind. I'm not going to wear it to work. But
I couldn't. There are some jobs that have like themed days, right? Like, and the pajama one is like one that I always want to participate in, but I can't bring myself to.
I don't feel comfortable.
I could never.
For people that work in HR that want to participate in a lot of the dress up days, just like I'll participate in like dressing up for a holiday or something, but when it's dressing down and looking raggedy,
can't do
especially in an environment where it might be new employees and new hires or employees that they already don't like HR and you're just giving them another reason to think less of you. I'm like you, Mama Mel. I can't. I never have. I've always been given permission to, but I never have.
It's the gift and the curse of HR. Is like you want to participate, but you can't. You cannot do the shorts day. The dress up ones for Halloween. Like you have to be very conservative and kind of think of, well, I'm always on, and but as far as like pajama day or sleep day or whatever, I couldn't do it either. I just can't. I can't get out of unless I'm going to Walmart, right? I can't get out of my car at the office with pajama pants on or a sleep shirt or something. I can't do it. I've never in the many years that I've worked ever participated. Now Hawaiian shirt day, I'll rock that shit all day long. but that was like that's very corporate. That's
like your like Jersey Day.
Yeah.
I don't know, Marvel comic. Like you disappeared. Sure, I will totally, wear red on Fridays. I'm right there with you.
Right.
But I can't do pajamas or like I can't like the shorts. I can't.
But I will say there are exceptions, like very, very rare exceptions, and I'll give you one, which happened many, many, many moons ago. I was woken up at like 3:00 in the morning due to, probably around 2:00 in the morning. It was a robbery and sexual assault of an employee. I literally got out of bed and what I had on and went to work.
Yeah,
I didn't even change.
Different.
So like, don't think that we're not human. Like I'm not going to take 30 minutes to get dressed dealing with something of a serious nature in the middle of the night. But in general, the consensus, I come to work representing.
I found you, Jake from HR. Please look at the screen that I have shared with you, wonderful people.
Where'd you share it?
There. That's right over. You can't see it?
Oh, wait, are you on the... Where are you at?
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Oh, that's
I found this one. This one is very basic and plain.
That one is conservative.
It is, but there were some ones that I was laughing about, like this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Sir.
Oh, the guy's wearing a thong. I mean,
you know what? At least he has the pants on over them because I've seen people in Walmart wearing just the thong.
Yeah, that's for Cisco, and we leave that for Cisco. The thong,
oh my God, Cisco!
But the funny thing about it is, thank you so much for turning me to this, Jake.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be watching that for hours.
I am gonna be.
Dr. Ring, they have books on it. Go on Amazon. They sell books.
Books.
Oh, the Walmart people.
Books.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yes, the Walmart people. They have books. Someone's making some bank off of Walmart.
It's a coffee table book for sure.
What was the original question here? Why have we normalized this? Was that the original?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Normalizing.
That was a comment, not a question.
Oh.
Well, no, but see, here's the thing, right? The more the companies that are trying to be more progressive, right, and trying to be appealing to a younger demographic, are allowing more and more looser like interpretations of their dress code. So the pajama pants, unless explicitly listed, right, as a non-starter, is okay, like in some places, because they're like, hey, be expressive, and you're allowed to wear hoodies, it's cold in the building, right? And then you get like everyone looking the same. They're all wearing pajama pants and hoodies and Crocs, and your office looks a little bit unprofessional. But again, sometimes it's okay, right? Depending on if it's a dress up day, what is the culture of the company, right? What are they trying to sort of portray? But like a company that's trying to secure business and trying to secure clients, it's just it doesn't look well. Doesn't look right. That's all.
It's risky.
Risque.
It's risque.
I don't know
can't
what
say
it
that,
is
Dr.
with the
Green.
joggers and
Do what?
But Dr. Green can't say that, only I can.
What, risque?
Risque.
Oh. I was like, I can say risque, but then you're like,
yeah.
Risque. And I'm like, oh, never mind. Yeah, you're right. I cannot say that. But I do want to hear from a specific, not Pacific for you grammar people, specific story from the Big Llama. Have you ever ran into a situation of where somebody you're like, whoa, and then like give us the background of the story?
Of course, I have a story for you.
Banana whack.
No, it's not as good as the banana whack. I think that that one is the highlight of the night.
I'm done with that. Done with those two words.
First of all, if you're listening to this podcast and you've done any Google searching, please clear your Google search history after this podcast. We did not intentionally mean for it to be a spicy podcast, and it is not. But if you Google searched any of the terms that we said tonight, you probably can be arrested.
No.
Or fired if they use their work computer.
That's true. Well, okay, so I have a not a controversial story, but it's one that involves innuendo. So somebody was wearing a t-shirt that was for a hot dog company. It's for a hot dog company. It's for
haven't heard this story.
I don't think you have, but okay. So I get called, said, hey, so-and-so from our facilities team has a shirt that is very inappropriate. I said, okay, what's the shirt say? It's something like we have the longest dogs, or we have the longest dogs. And just a couple of different sayings about innuendo about men's packages. And it truly is for a hot dog company, a company that the restaurant is primarily features hot dogs. And it was so inappropriate, like, come see how big our dogs are. So I don't know. It just there were so many different things on this shirt that when I approached this individual, they got mad at me because they said, it's just a hot dog place. I was like, dude, you know exactly what this says. And they literally fought me like back and forth about why, we have the longest dogs is not inappropriate, especially if it's the picture of a hot dog. So it just goes to show you, right, that people like to challenge the status. And again, I love a good innuendo. I love someone who can cleverly put something on a shirt. Like, you guys remember back, I might be dating because I'm old, in the 1900s, in the late 1900s,
Oh
there was
my
a company
God.
called the Big Johnson T-shirt Company.
Yes.
Again, wipe your Google search after this. If you look up the Big Johnson T-shirt Company, you'll see images of the most inappropriate sayings that 10 and 12-year-olds were wearing to middle school. It was just I mean, but the innuendos were so amazing that you had to applaud it. You had to go, you know what, that's pretty clever. But it was so inappropriate. I don't know. Are you Googling Dr. Green? Because my search history, I'm not putting it in there.
No. I'm responding to Jake from HR into the private chat.
Yeah, well,
that he was telling us that he's Googling and it's pulling up T-shirts, and so I think he's a little bit pleasantly surprised on what he found.
Yeah, let me see.
Don't do it, Llama.
See, so there's one. They actually have a website. They're still selling their shirts. Like this one here. It's a people on a boat. It says it's called Big Johnson Fishing Boats. It says it's easy to reel them in when you got a Big Johnson. And they're talking about the boat.
The boat.
And these were the shirts. These were the shirts that we were wearing when we were in 6th and 7th grade.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I love a good innuendo, and I love I'll put that on our private chat. You guys can go look at that.
Anyway. I actually combined HR with your story and got some interesting logos.
Oh my god!
That's just that might be our title for our episode tonight.
Johnson.
No, we don't fire, we grill. HR where the meat gets processed.
So for a real story that I had in the last couple of organizations that I worked at, I had one that wore a neon orange hoodie, and it said "Go F yourself."
No,
Now,
thanks.
So F as in the letter F or the full word?
The letter, and then like a little, like the ampersand and the star, the asterisk, and all those are things. Go F yourself. And I was shocked that she thought it was okay. There's nothing wrong with my shirt. Yeah, there is. Like, what does this word mean? And she's like, well, it could mean all sorts of things, but there's an asterisk in here, and I'm like, okay, look, I was born at night, and it was a Monday night, but it wasn't this past Monday night. So I need you to take yourself home, change that, put on something different that is appropriate, because I had to make sure I reiterated appropriate so that this person wouldn't come back with something else inappropriate wearing. And then finally, she was gone for like hours. Well, you didn't tell me when I had to come back. You know what?
Oh, what a smart ass.
I know, and it's like I guess I had patience of a saint at that point, because I really, if somebody told me that today, I'd probably be like, yeah, there's no place for you here. With all positive intent and loving kindness, there's no place for you here.
No. Hate has no place here.
Yes, just like she had no home here.
Sounds like hate does have a home here today.
We touched on a lot of good stuff tonight.
Yes, we did.
Good stuff.
What's that in your hand, Mama Mel?
Oh, it's my AirPod case.
Oh, okay. I'll just make sure you hold some baby stuff.
It's tissues. She's crying. You made her laugh so hard.
From all the banana whack stories.
Banana whack.
So
I
guess
did send y'all the thing that said explains that I'm not crazy, that it's actually really a game.
We
Oh, but
believe you,
anyway.
sir. We believe
yeah,
you.
we believe it's a game. We're unclear of the colors. Is
Right,
where we
right.
stand.
But
Right?
again,
green.
Bananas are green.
if you're gonna, so Dr. Green, if we're gonna tell the story again, don't start with me and my wife play this game called
Yeah.
Banana Whack.
Yeah,
Don't. I mean,
But where would the joy be in not doing that? Just because that brings the joy and the fun of the podcast.
Well, I think if anything, you found a loophole tonight.
you did.
You found a loophole. Next time you see a green car, whack
Punch.
your wife. Punch your wife and say
That doesn't
banana
sound better
whack.
either.
Doesn't sound any better.
Punch your wife. Poke your wife in the ribs. Poke her in the ribs.
Not condone any violence on this podcast.
Hate has no home here.
But next time you see a
Punch your
green
wife.
car, just because bananas are green or black.
Actually,
Give her a love tap. Love tap.
love tap.
Love tap. I like
Not in front of people. But
Lord, no.
we do, whenever my niece lived with us, my sister was deployed and my niece stayed with us. And so we had different names for different colors that weren't like black, white, gray cars. Those are the most common cars. And then there was pink pop. So you pop somebody if you saw a pink car. And then I don't know how this one came about, but it was really funny. The greens. So for all the ones who get sick by hearing the word booger, my niece would call it booger bonk. And so a green car was called booger bonk. And so that's where you don't have to punch your wife. You can just say booger bonk and smack her.
Okay,
But
let's just be all inclusive. Automotive abuse.
Exactly.
Any vehicle, just beat the crap out of whoever's next to you.
What in the hell? What in the world? In the raisins in the potato salad are you talking about?
What in the raisins in the potato salad are you talking about?
Oh, what's raisins? I don't even need potato salad, so I don't really care. But no, seriously, like that's what a 6 and 7-year-old mind was all about. And
Booger bonk.
driving to Disney World, you came up with some things. Okay.
Got it.
What happened to normal card games like let's name fruits and vegetables until we repeat one and then you're out?
Yeah.
Like
I
Wait,
spy
what?
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
the quiet game. Like
What about the license plate games? Y'all ever play that?
Yeah.
Out of state
don't know what
license
you're-
plate?
Yeah. If you see one.
Is that where you punch someone every time?
Violence.
Oh my
Oh.
Florida
God.
people.
I'm gonna reel this one back in.
Let's
reel
go.
it back
All right.
in. Listen.
All right.
Go, Jake. Go.
Nope. I was gonna say we're gonna before we start getting black eyes and bruises, we're gonna bring this to a close, and we're gonna start with Mama Mel. Give us your wonderful thoughts to bring us to an end.
Listen, summarizing purpose of company dress codes, right? Encompasses professionalism. In some job sites, it may be a safety and like health and safety thing, whether it's to enhance productivity, whether it's to keep you legally compliant, whatever the case may be for your company. Set clear guidelines, right? Like be very intentional with what you're adding into your appropriate and non-appropriate attire. Because like in the first story, if you don't set clear guidelines, somebody will test the limit.
Hashtag facts. Hashtag facts. Go on, hit us, Dr. Green, but not physically.
I don't want to play banana wet. Thank you.
They don't make, what are those called? Volkswagen Beetles anymore. So that game kind of got out the door. So kind of come up with another one. Oh, gosh. As far as what it is when it comes to dress codes or just being appropriate, look, if you work from home, wear an appropriate shirt. Please do not stand up. Okay, if you're not wearing anything,
bottoms.
please wear bottoms. If you are planning on doing any of that, please make sure your camera is off. That brings a whole nother story. We got to talk another podcast about, is that camera really off? But dress code, just be in all sense of true. Be appropriate. Wear the right thing. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And if you don't, ask someone, is this appropriate? And the answer is, if you have to ask, it's probably not appropriate. So do the right thing at the right place at the right time. Wear the right thing. That's my advice.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right, punching over to the big llama.
All right, so tonight we've probably scared off the youngest demographic from this podcast. So thank you for tuning in. All two of you who are under the age of 21, thank you for tuning in and hating us. In all seriousness, I think one of the things that needs to be sort of said, and I want to make sure it's clear, is like, kind of feel out your work area. You know the environment that you're working in. Sometimes it is relaxed, and you can be relaxed and wear jeans and t-shirts and stuff like that. But as any woman will tell you, right, is you have to be prepared for the opportunities. So that's how I sort of take things. Is I want to be ready in case I get called into the big meeting to present or to do something or to provide my input. You can still be within that sort of environment, that corporate environment, but you step it up a little bit. That's all. So, forget that whole dress for the job you want and all that. I hate those cliches, but if you know the corporate environment, if you know how the things run, that's how you should tailor sort of your dress. The other end of it is don't bring the TikTok trends to work. Don't test the things. Like, people are purposely looking for loopholes, and they're looking for reasons to get the attention, right? So in this TikTok age, everybody is trying to go viral. So if you see a trend that's out there that's getting people in trouble, don't test it. Don't bring that to your workplace. And honestly, I think this was a great conversation because it did take a very good, I think, serious turn when we were talking about people communicating differences, and so we went from a dress code discussion to a very sort of ethical discussion about religion, politics, and everything else. And this is why I absolutely love this podcast. You do get something out of it every time you come and listen, and we're pretty mindful of that. So I want to say thank you to remember we said we're going to shout her out. Thank you to a hopefully future llama who listens to the podcast. And honestly, anyone who listens to the podcast, we say thank you. We appreciate you guys as listeners. But no, this was a great episode tonight. I want to say for sure.
Hashtag feeling the love. All right, so basically what I'll do, because we all seem to have the same thoughts, is I'll just coalesce everything together. When it comes to dressing for work, it's important to remember that your clothing should reflect professionalism and respect for the workplace culture. Avoid wearing anything that could be considered offensive, distracting, inappropriate. While personal expression is valued, it is essential to ensure that your attire promotes positive, respectful, and inclusive environment for everyone in the workplace, regardless of whether you agree with them or not, or agree with their lifestyle or agree with their types. We want to be respectful of everyone as much as we would like to be respected ourselves. So with that being said, it brings us to the end of this podcast. And I say this with much love. Until we call you into the office next time, have an amazing night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Well, that's another episode of the Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR. We didn't solve anything, but hey, at least we tried.
And by tried, we mean we laughed, we overshared, and we probably violated some HR guidelines ourselves.
But remember, this podcast podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take our advice. Seriously, don't.
And if your HR manager asks, you've never heard of us or this podcast.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and join us the next time as we keep trying to figure out HR and fail spectacularly.
Now, go be productive, or at least pretend to be.
And tell your boss that I said hi.
Tell your mom I said hello.
Tell your daddy I said hey.
And remember, hate has no home here.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week again for a fresh round.